Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and giving me just a couple of minutes of your time before Cindy comes out. We are so honored to share the stage with Cindy. She has done such amazing work to bring awareness to the importance of fostering kittens. My name is Tina Reddington. I'm the director of the Los Angeles Volunteer Program for the ASPCA. And we are in the midst of kitten season right now. I think most of you probably know what kitten season is, but for those of you who do not, it's the time of year when cats are flooding our shelters. Cats are getting frisky out there, and they're having many kittens that are arriving at our shelter doors. We're seeing hundreds a week. And these kittens are far too young to be able to survive in a shelter environment. It is not because the shelter staff do not want to save these kittens. They desperately want to, but they are already overcrowded. Every single one of those kennels is full. And not only that, but these kittens are so small. They're like, this big. Their immune systems are not strong enough to handle all of the disease that goes on in a shelter. They cannot fight off those diseases. So the shelter is no place for a young kitten to be, and they're not making it out of there. The only way we can save these tiny kittens that are arriving is through foster homes. We cannot save them without the amazing fosters that have joined our program. Since April 2017, we have now saved over 2,250 kittens from one shelter. So that just goes to show how many kittens there are to save. You guys, that's one shelter. We have so many other shelters we want to get to, but we can't do it without foster homes like you. We have also been working with other rescue agencies in Los Angeles, like the Pasadena Humane Society. Together, in partnership with Pasadena Humane Society, we created the Kitten Garden, and the Kitten Garden has also taken in a lot of these kittens. You will be able to find some of our kittens from the foster program available for adoption in the Pasadena adoption area. I hope you guys go and visit them and give a tiny little one a home. But anyways, this is where we need you guys, because if we cannot get cat lovers to foster kittens, who can we get to help us save these kittens, right? So it takes so much less than you would think. We ask you to just attend an online information session to learn more. You do not need to commit to anything up front. Attend from the comfort of your home. It's about an hour long, and find out what fostering really is about with our program. We try and make it as easy and as fun as possible. We literally put the kittens in a lift that is sent with their supplies to your front door. So you are getting, the lift tracker, you get the box, you open the box, and it's a box full of kittens for you to take care of. It's really fun. So that's, a challenge with LA that we are helping with. We are sending the kittens right to your front door. And then all you need to do is care for them for only about 2 to 4 weeks. That is all the time you need to have to save a kitten's life. We give you a playpen so they can stay completely enclosed. So if you have other pets at home, that is not a problem. We're paying for all of the medical expenses. All we're asking from you guys is to take them to their veterinary care appointments every 2 to 3 weeks and give them some TLC. These kittens are coming from the streets. They're coming from cats who live outdoors, who don't have human interaction. But by getting them at this age, you guys are turning them into amazing family members. This is the perfect socialization time. They learn how good life is in a home. And so not only are you saving their life because of the health and because there's no space in the shelter, but because you're also turning them into family pets by socializing with them and playing with them. It's an amazing, amazing experience. It's so rewarding. You can be just like Cindy and have an amazing Instagram account with a ton of cute kittens. And we want you to join us. We want you to join us in this fight to save as many kittens as we can in Los Angeles. Kitten season is longer here than it is anywhere else because we have so many warm days, and that is when the cats breed. So if you guys are interested, we will be right outside the doors after Cindy's session is done. So please stop by, talk to us about kitten fostering. We can RSVP you for one of those online information sessions, or visit us at booth 609, and we are giving away great, cute tote bags that say you're a kitten hero by joining us. And otherwise, you can go to our website, aspca.org/fosterla. Okay, without further ado, I am proud to welcome Cindy up to the stage. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to my fostering seminar today. This is my husband, Mark. He's running the PowerPoint for me. My name is Cindy, and I foster for the Seattle Humane Society and Perfect Pals. You might recognize my hands and my feet from my Instagram. You might also recognize these little kiddos who I fostered in the last year. I'm super excited to be in Pasadena with you today, although I live in Seattle now. I was born and raised in Southern California in Claremont, in case you've heard of it. You probably, you probably haven't, because it's literally like some bougie sandwich shops and like a college or two. But I love being back in California. It's always fun to visit Southern California. So the ASPCA is sponsoring me today. They will have volunteers outside of the exits. If you decide that fostering is something you can do, they'll have iPads so you can sign up right away. I'm hoping that this seminar will give you the information that you need to make a decision if fostering is something that you can take on or not. If after listening to me you decide this is definitely not a thing that I can do, that is okay, no judgment here. We've compiled a variety of non-fostering volunteering work that you could also maybe consider and still be making a huge difference for shelter cats everywhere. So my goal today is to explain some fostering basics. With an international audience on Instagram, I get a lot of questions about fostering. It seems like in the Pacific Northwest area and here in California and on the East Coast, there are some very robust fostering programs. But in other areas, it's still kind of a new idea. So I'm hoping I can share the things that I've learned fostering for 2 different shelters over the last 6 years and help you, decide if this is something you can do as well. This is a topic I'm passionate about. I could probably talk about it until September of 2019, but there's other things you need to be doing between now and then. So if you have questions, a lot of this information is on my website. You can also send me an email through fosterkittensofficial@gmail.com, and I will do my best to answer it. So my format today is to lightly touch on 5 topics that I get asked about a lot on my account. First of all, how do I get started fostering? What equipment, what supplies will I need? Second, do you get attached to your kittens? Will I become the crazy cat lady? I think the #1 question or comment that I receive is, I could never foster because I would get too attached. So we'll address that. Third is, how do I set up a foster area in my room or in my home? Fourth is balancing fostering and home life. What do you do if your spouse or your partner or significant other isn't really keen on you fostering and is worried that you're going to keep all of them? And 5, how do you sanitize everything between litters, and how do you keep your home from smelling like a litter box? I'm hoping at the end of this that I'll leave a little bit of time for some questions and answers, and while we're doing that Q&A, we'll have other volunteer ideas scrolling through the screen, so you can maybe get some ideas while we're doing the Q&A. So just a brief introduction about fostering. Fostering expands the walls of the shelter, and it allows them to take in far more kittens than they otherwise would. Most shelters and rescues and humane societies have a fostering program that you can volunteer with. So I encourage you to do some searches around wherever you live, look at their website, see if there's a foster program where you can volunteer. There's a variety of reasons that a cat or a kitten might show up in a shelter. Sometimes they're part of the homeless cat community, and some kind person brought them into the shelter to help them find a home or get medical treatment. Sometimes they may be transferred from another shelter who doesn't have a robust fostering program, and sometimes it's a family who can no longer care for their pet. And I just want to take a quick second here and talk about judging. Surrendering a family pet is a very emotionally wrought topic, and I don't want you to think people are surrendering their cats because they're jerks and they hate cats. Most of the time it's because they've had some kind of traumatic family event happen. Maybe it's an elderly person who's going into a retirement or a care center that doesn't allow pets and they have to surrender their family pet. It might be someone who's in the military and they're being deployed and they can't bring their cat with them. It might be somebody who's lost their job and they can no longer care for their pet. So lots of reasons why, perfectly nice people are having to surrender their animals. On the flip side, it's also important to not judge shelters. Keep in mind that people do not go into the animal care business because they hate animals and because they want to hurt them. Their instinct always is to help the animals, but they're doing it with very limited resources. And so I think it's important to be non-judgmental and realize that everybody is doing their best, that judging is not helpful, being helpful is helpful, and fostering is definitely being helpful. So some of these animals, after they're surrendered, get a medical check-in at the shelter and they're ready for the adoption floor. Some animals could use some time in foster care before they can be adopted. These might include animals who are too young to be spayed or neutered. They might be nursing mothers who can't be adopted, need to stay with their kittens until their kittens are weaned. It might be cats who are pregnant who have shown up at the shelter and need a nice place to deliver outside of the shelter walls. It could be older cats like Stan here who are very, very ill, who need to have surgery. He had to have some teeth removed. And it's just nicer for him to receive care in a warm, comfortable home with a family that loves him and feeds him, and instead of having to be in a cubby at a shelter. It might also be cats who are waiting for surgery. This little tortoiseshell here, Nellie, came into the shelter with 2 badly infected eyes, and so I fostered her while she was waiting to have one of her eyes removed, and my job was to give her eye drops and ointments to keep her comfortable until it was time for her surgery. Then after her surgery, she came home and recuperated with me in my home, and again, the ointment and the eye drops, and now she's living in Texas as Nellie Princess Pirate, because she just has her one eye now. Animals who come from hoarding situations too are often under-socialized and stressed. They're used to other cats, but they're not really used to people. Here we have Prince Henry and Eloise, who are 2 fosters I took in, who just needed to learn that people are nice and that food was served at regular times and litter boxes were scooped, and eventually they learned that people were good and could be trusted. So these are all of the different types of fostering that you can do. If you decide that tiny kittens is a little too much for you, maybe consider one of these, other options. You could get a Stan who was, languishing, super sick in a shelter, and a few months later, he's living in a yacht club on a lake in Bellevue, Washington, living the life. Totally Cinderella story. Shelters are amazing, but they are the first ones to admit that they're just not the best places for underage kittens, nursing moms, animals who could really use a warm family environment to recuperate in. Additionally, each animal that you foster in your home opens up a cage or a kennel space for another animal who may need it. So it literally does save lives, and that is what fosters do. So, how do I get started? What kind of supplies and equipment will I need to start fostering? So check the websites of shelters near you, see what fostering programs they have and what they provide. As you know, cat fertility is tied to daylight hours and daytime temperatures, and so here in Southern California, cats can be having 2 or 3 litters a year, and so they're desperately looking for foster homes for these kittens. Most shelters will provide all of the supplies that you need, but again, if it's right in the height of kitten season and they're running low on supplies, they may really appreciate it if you could step in and provide some food or some litter, just to help them out during kitten season. If you decide that fostering is something you'd like to do and you put them on social media and set up an Amazon wish list, it's super fun to shop for Kitten Toys, and maybe you can get some help from people who follow your kittens in providing food and other equipment for the kittens. For the most part, you will not need to go out of pocket. Most shelters have a vet on staff who will take care of your vaccinations, your viral testing, spay-neuter surgery, microchipping, and any medical emergencies that come up. So you should not be going out of pocket to foster. And later on, I will show you some setups of some foster rooms and give you some creative ideas on how to set up your foster area. So probably the number one question I'm asked is, do you get attached to your fosters? And the answer is yes, I do get attached. I mean, these are kittens. You'd have to be slightly dead to not get attached to kittens, and slightly dead people are really bad at fostering. So I would say when it comes to getting attached to the kittens, it's complicated, right? It's a different kind of attachment than you feel to your own household pets, your resident pets who you know you're going to keep forever. You go into it knowing that this is a short-term love affair. They're eventually going to be adopted, and so it's a different kind of attachment that you feel for them. I think of it as checking out a library book. You may really love that library book, but you know at the end when you're done reading that book, you're going to put it back on the shelf and somebody else is going to get a turn to love that cat. It's different than a book that you buy for yourself and you know you're going to keep it on your shelf forever. So these are some of the happy families that adopted my kittens, and I love being able to share these awesome little kitties with these awesome families. And honestly, my part's the fun part. I'm like the grandma who gives them toys and snacks, and they love me, and then these families have to, pay for their vet bills and, and worry about scratching posts and, teenage angst and other cat problems, so I never have to deal with that. When kittens are ready for adoption between 2 and 3 months old, they definitely show signs of being ready to emotionally separate from each other, from their mom, from me. It actually is a little weird to have a litter of 5 or 6 week-old, or a litter of 5 or 6 kittens that are 2 or 3 months old in my house. I mean, the poop alone is astronomical. I probably should have posted a picture of like 3 litter boxes full to the brim. It gets very, very difficult to manage that many kittens at that age. And so they are ready for graduation. I am ready for them to graduate. Plus, once they go up for adoption, I get to have new little tiny kittens again, and I always love to have the tiny kittens in my home. Adoption day is always really sad for me. I cry. I eat a lot of grilled cheese sandwiches. But I mean, to me, it's like saying goodbye to your high school, your high school seniors. You love them, but you know that they're ready to move on, and it feels right to let them move on. You're sad and you cry, but it would feel wrong to always make them stay at home with you. So it's joyful. It's a miserable joy for sure, but it's still joy all the same for me. And I could probably sum it up by saying, even though I cry and it's sad, it's totally, totally worth it. So number 3, setting up the foster room, getting supplies. How much is this going to cost me? How do I keep the kittens safe in my house? I reached out to several of my friends on Instagram who also foster and who have foster accounts, and asked them to send me photos of their kitten room setup and explain what their favorite parts are. So first of all, this little kitty here that you see was a kitten that I visited at the Baldwin Park Animal Care Center the other day. Super friendly little guy, but as you can see, he doesn't have a whole lot of space to be a kitten in. So please keep in mind, I totally understand you live in California. It's expensive. Your house is small. You're paying $3,000 a month to live in an apartment the size of a Fiat. I get it. Anything you can offer is better than a cage at a shelter, even if it's a bathroom or it's a playpen. It's better than what this little guy has to play in. First of all, I talked to my friend at 3 Tiny Tabbies. Maybe you follow her on Instagram. She has some super cute kittens right now. This is her foster setup. She says her favorite part are the cat trees. She has them up by the window so that the kittens can climb up, look out the window, and pretend like they're jungle animals. The mom can go up to the top and avoid the kittens when she's ready to do that. So cat trees next to a window are her favorite part. She says her other favorite part, and I think this is so clever, is her desk. She uses the top of the desk and the drawers of the desk for storage, and then she puts her litter boxes underneath. Kittens will always find a little dark, cozy, quiet place to use the bathroom, so why not put a litter box there? So she has that set up for her kittens. She says her least favorite part is that she has carpet in her kitten room. The way she gets around this is she puts sheets and blankets on top of the carpet, and then those can easily be picked up and washed every other day or so, or whenever she wants to. She says she wishes she could put in vinyl flooring. Isn't that funny? All of a sudden we're like, hey, linoleum, it's so 90s, and I totally want it now. So next I asked my friend Ashley at Youngest Old Cat Lady. She just lives about an hour north of me, to show me her foster room. Ashley says she loves the big teal armoire for storage of food and litter and supplies. She found this on Craigslist and painted it with chalk paint, so super cute. She has a locked cabinet for supplies, medical supplies that she doesn't want the kittens to get into. She uses a baby scale to weigh the kittens on. I use a food scale with a bowl on it. I wish I had a baby scale, so lots of options for weighing your kittens to make sure that they're gaining every day. Ashley likes her big trash can with a lid because she can throw things away, but the kittens can't get into it. She says on the other side of the room, next to the litter box, she has an air purifier, and that is really critical in a kitten room. You do want an air purifier if you can near the litter box, and try to get a cord cover for it as well so the kittens don't chew it. She has a litter genie, and we're going to talk about litter genies later because that's another really great tool to have. She has a couch in her kitten room, and she covers that with blankets so that she can wash that again and keep things clean and nice smelling. But it's a snuggly place for her to sit and hold the kittens and bottle feed, and for the kittens to snuggle as well. So next we have my friend Emma Wallace, who fosters in the UK for Gwent Cats Protection. Emma uses, I like this because this is her guest room. She uses it for her fosters, and I think that's really clever because you can tell your in-laws, I'm sorry, you can't come. I have kittens in my guest room. I'm sorry. So Emma says that the kittens like the radiator, so all of you in Pasadena who have radiators, you can totally use that for your kittens. She says she likes the scratching post next to the window, again, so her kittens can look out. She has a sofa bed in there, and she's put waterproof sheets on it, and then she can wash that in her washing machine to sanitize it in between litters. And then next we have, you might follow her, she has super cute kittens right now, Whispers and Purrs. This is Christy up in Vancouver, British Columbia. She has a super cute sign on her foster room door. She says her favorite part of the kitten room are all the hard surfaces that make it easy to disinfect and keep things smelling clean. Again, you see the cat trees next to the windows. As for storage, Christy has shelves and bins inside that dresser that hold toys and supplies. She also has a bed in this room. She's sitting on the bed to take the pictures, but she made a really good valid point when she said that kittens who aren't litter box trained will often go under the bed, and so she's put a little fence around the bed so they can't crawl underneath it until they're litter box trained. And she likes the bed because if she's bottle feeding, sometimes she'll sleep in there, or she can just cuddle on the bed with the kittens. So I know you all have seen lots of pictures of my foster room, so I won't bore you with pictures of that, but I do want to list my top 10 favorite foster products for you today. So first of all is Rescue Disinfectant. This is the disinfectant and deodorizer that shelters and vets use. It's effective against a broad spectrum of bacteria, viruses, and fungi, including parvo, calicivirus, staph. It's non-toxic, so it's okay to use around pregnant cats and nursing kittens. It sanitizes in 30 seconds and disinfects in 5 minutes. So if you decide to foster, definitely have some of this on hand. It comes in wipe form and in spray form, and your shelter may be able to supply you with some. Number 2 on my top 10 list is disposable litter boxes. These are made of recycled materials, so once I'm done, I can scoop all the litter out and put my used litter boxes right in the compost. I throw them out every Saturday and start fresh with new litter boxes, so I'm never worried about smells or trying to scrub or sanitize litter boxes in between litters. I just throw them away. Number 3 is crystal litter. This is my favorite kind of litter. Huge bonus to keeping your kitten room smelling like it's not a kitten room. You scoop the solids and the crystal litter absorbs the liquids, and so you don't have that ammonia smell in your kitten room. A litter mat looks like a plastic rug, but I sit it right in front of the litter boxes, so as the kittens hop out, they hit the mat catches any litter that's stuck to their little paws, they run and play, and there's no litter throughout the room. Contact paper, I put contact paper on the bottom third of my walls. It kind of has a dry erase board feel, so it's super easy to wipe off any of the splatter that the kittens use from food or poop or anything else. Keeps my drywall from disintegrating when I'm scrubbing it. It's not expensive. They have super cute patterns on Amazon, and so I can switch it out when I want. I'm pretty fond of the aqua chevron, so that will probably stay for a while, but they have lots and lots of cute designs, and it's easy to pull off and put back on, so big fan of contact paper on the bottom third of your kitten room wall. Silicone mat is number 6. I use this mat underneath the kittens' food and water dishes to protect the flooring underneath. Kittens are messy, they spill, they're splattery, and this will just keep things tidy and keep your wall and your floor from getting wet. A litter Genie, they're selling them here today. Definitely pick one up if you can. I keep my litter Genie right next to the litter box. Makes it super easy to scoop. Every time I walk into the room, I scoop litter Genies right there. It's kind of like a diaper Genie. It seals the poop into little stink-proof bags, and then you empty that out, every so often when it gets full. It's a huge help. Definitely look into getting one of those. Even if you don't foster, just get one for your cat. People ask a lot how I clean the cat trees and disinfect them in between litters. I treat them like carpet. I use a handheld vacuum to get all of the hair off. If I'm cleaning them while the kittens are in the room, then I just use a lint roller so that it's not so scary, but I can still keep things clean and smelling fresh. In between litters, I use a carpet shampooer. I actually put rescue disinfectant in my carpet shampooer, and then I shampoo with the handheld part to keep all of my cat trees clean and disinfected. Number 10 is an enzyme cleaner. This is the best way to combat the ammonia smell in cat urine, and it's so critical that I'm actually going to do a whole part about cat urine later, but a good enzyme cleaner is what you need to help with the cat litter. So I hope this doesn't sound like it's going to be too expensive for you. I hope you're not seeing this thinking, I can never afford all of this for my kitten room. Keep in mind that all of these kitten rooms that you've seen have evolved over time. Anything that you have is better than a cage and a shelter. So start with what you have, add and delete as you go. A great resource for picking up pet supplies is thrift stores. Every time I go to a thrift store, I check out their pet department. They always have beds, cat trees. You'll want to gently marinate all of those in your rescue disinfectant before you let your kittens around them. Kitten Toys, baby blankets are warmer than pet blankets and are usually cheaper, so pick up some baby blankets at thrift stores. If you're on Facebook, definitely find your local Buy Nothing Facebook group or Free Cycle. Post pictures of your kittens and say, hey, do you have any supplies that I could have? I'm volunteering and I would love to, have whatever anyone can donate to me for free. People love to donate to kittens. You can get free puppy pads, free trees, free dishes. Personally, my own cats don't eat off of cat dishes. They eat off Fiestaware because our Fiestaware came with little salad plates, and in no way are we a fancy enough family to require little salad plates, so my kittens eat off of those. Super easy to just put them in the in the dishwasher every night, and then I don't have to worry about buying cat dishes. So lots of options to get some good products and good supplies without ever having to spend a penny on it. So balancing fostering and home life. These are my 2 daughters when they were 15. They recently took their senior pictures and their prom pictures with their pets. And I have this picture here to tell you, to demonstrate that fostering is definitely a family affair. If there's someone in your family who doesn't want to foster, it can ruin the whole experience for you, honestly. So a question I'm asked a lot is, what if my husband or my significant other or my roommate or my partner doesn't want me to foster? So in all honesty, you know, it is going to affect your significant other who's in the house. There's no way around it. Kittens are disasters. They're messy, they'll keep you up at night, they chew on things, they may ruin things. And part of learning how to be a good indoor cat requires being around people who are patient and who have a sense of humor. And if the kitten's getting yelled at all the time, or feels anxiety and tension in your home, or if you're feeling guilty over kitten behavior that you can't control, this definitely is, it's not going to be an enjoyable experience. And I want you to enjoy having kittens around and not feel guilty and not feel stressed. So what I would recommend is go into it knowing that having fosters are going to affect the other people who live within the walls of your home. Talk to them about it. Ask if you can start with an easy litter, maybe 2 or 3 kittens, you know, small litter, maybe some kittens who just need, you know, a little bit of socialization. Start small, start easy. And if your significant other decides that this is not something that they want to do, then you know that it's time for you to start looking around for a new significant other. So a lot of people say with their resident cats, they're worried about fostering with their resident cats. I have resident cats. Most shelters will just recommend that you keep your cats separate for a little while, at least until you're sure that the kittens are healthy. Definitely talk to your own vet. Tell them that you want to foster, and your vet will recommend the vaccinations and any treatments that your cat might need to help keep them safe. The 3 top illnesses that you're going to see in shelter kittens are upper respiratory infection, diarrhea, and fleas. These will all be treated by the shelter before you go home. Upper respiratory infection is the thing you're going to see most often, basically a kitty cold. Little kids get colds, kittens get colds. If your cat is vaccinated, if you're putting some lysine powder on his food every so often, and he's generally healthy, a cold is something that your cat can fight off if it even catches it. So this is when rescue disinfectant will be your friend and trying to keep the kitties separate. But keep in mind, it sounds dire, upper respiratory infection. It's literally a cold that can be dangerous for very young, very old cats and cats with immune system problems, but for your healthy, indoor, vaccinated cat, not as big of an issue. Diarrhea and fleas are also things that your vet, the shelter vet, will treat for before your kitty comes home. Also, you know, keep in mind, rescue disinfectant is going to take care of a lot of these problems for you. What if you work full time? What if you travel? Can you still foster? Absolutely. I think my mommy cats wish I worked full time because I'd quit poking their children all the time. So maybe consider getting a nursing cat. You take care of the nursing cat, you feed her, you love on her, she does all the heavy lifting for you. Feeding and pottying and taking care of the kittens. A cat who needs medicine all throughout the day is not going to be something you can take on. Bottle babies that need to be fed every 2 or 3 hours around the clock, not something you can take on. But you could take in a little bit of older kittens who need some socialization. You could take in an older cat like Stan, who just needs a break from busy shelter life. Easily to take on, you know, a kitty who's sick and could just use a warm recovery place where you feed him in the morning, you feed him at night, you cuddle him in the evening, and way better than a cage in a shelter. So absolutely consider fostering if you work full time, or if you travel, there's going to be someone just for you. What if you don't have a lot of space? We talked about this just briefly, but the ASPCA here will give you a little puppy playpen that you can totally enclose your kitties in. You could put them in your room, put them in the front room, put them in a bathroom. Anything you have is better than what they're going to get at a shelter. Let's see. All right, number 5. How do I sanitize everything in between litters? So we've touched on this a little bit in the past. Rescue disinfectant, again, wipes, sprays. I toss almost everything into either the washing machine or the dishwasher. If it's plastic or small, it goes in the dishwasher. I put the litter mats, the mats underneath the food, that all goes in the washing machine. If toys fall apart or don't make it through the washing machine or dishwasher, then they don't get to stay. I toss those. I can only keep toys that I can easily disinfect. The most critical thing about making sure your home doesn't smell like a litter box is managing the cat's poop and the cat's pee. So let's talk for a minute about cat poop and cat pee. First of all, scoop every time you go into the kitten room. It's scooping a lot, but it's quick because you're going to have your litter genie right next to your litter box, and you're going to make it super easy and just get in the habit. Disposable litter boxes make a huge difference. Easy to toss, easy to use. They even put baking soda right inside of the box so that absorbs the smell, and you can make biscuits with it if you run out. I keep an air purifier plugged right in next to the litter boxes, again with that cord cover so that kittens don't chew my cord. And honestly, the poop is really one of the reasons why it makes it okay to say goodbye. There's really a lot of it when the kittens are ready to be adopted. It's unnatural. So cat urine, and this is really the critical piece. Poop is easy to deal with because it's solid, you can scoop it out. There is a chemically important reason why you need to use special cleaners and not just household cleaners to take care of cat urine. You need to get some kind of an enzyme cleaner, and this is why. We're going to do science now. So traditional household or carpet cleaners take care of some of the components of cat urine, but they do not take care of the uric acid and the salts that are left behind. Uric acid is not water soluble. It bonds tightly to whatever surface it's on, and it has a half-life of 6 years, and I don't know what that means, but it seems like a really long time to have something smell. You may think you got all the smells out, but then when humidity kicks in, the uric acid salts cause uric acid crystals to form, and that process releases the smell again. So these enzymes, and these are the cleaners that I use, are the only things that will stop that cycle. They will break down that uric acid permanently to remove the smell. They break it down into carbon dioxide and ammonia, which can evaporate. So it's really important that you spray it and then let it air dry so that evaporation process can happen. So this is all on my website. There's even links if you want to purchase them through my website. I buy them on Amazon, and I know they have them at pet stores. So please don't think that vinegar or baking powder or soda or anything like that is going to take care of cat urine. It needs an enzyme cleaner to break that down. For disinfecting, here's our Rescue Disinfectant. Any toy that doesn't fit in my dishwasher, I wipe it up with Rescue, or I spray it and let it air dry. It's a one-step cleaner, disinfectant, and deodorizer. So let me see how we're doing on time. Oh, good. I have a few minutes for us to do question and answer. We have a microphone down here in the middle of the aisle. So if you have a question, we just have maybe 5 minutes. Please line up and ask your question. I'll do my very best to either answer it or make up an answer that sounds viable. And in the meantime, back here on the screen, we have some ideas that we've researched. If you decide that fostering is not something that you can do, maybe there's some of these things that you can do. Maybe there's something here that's right up your alley and that really will help animals find homes. So thank you for coming, anyone. Does anyone have any questions? They want to come up and...
Is this on? Well, I guess it is.
Did I meet? I met you yesterday, didn't you?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, we hung out. You brought me chocolates. That was
we
amazing.
just met.
Yeah, it was good.
The policy in our area is that once the cats are ready to graduate from the home, they go in to be sputered.
Right.
And they stay with the shelter who keeps them. So you get to foster from your home. Is that a unique situation?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So many times you will return your cat or your kittens back to the shelter where they will go to the adoption floor to be adopted. It's sad, it sounds sad, but this is the best way for them to meet the adoring public. For the most part, people aren't going to come to your home to see the kitten, but if the kitten is actually physically at the shelter with other cute kittens in an adoption room with adoption counselors right there, this gives them the visibility to get adopted. So even though it sounds sad to return them to the shelter after being in your loving home, kittens they get snatched up so fast. If they're there overnight, I would be surprised. So this gives them the best chance. Why is it different for me? That's a policy that the 2 shelters that I've worked with have come up with. I used to take my kittens to adoption events where an adoption counselor would, finalize the adoption. Once my Instagram got a little bit bigger, people started camping out at the Petco where the adoption event was going to be held, and they would camp out, with their camp chairs and their Starbucks starting at 5 a.m. for like an 11 a.m. event. And pet stores were saying, we can't have people, sleeping in our parking lot waiting for your kittens. And then I felt terrible because people would drive, a few hours with their little kids to adopt a kitten, and I just didn't have enough to go around. So both shelters that I work with allow me to bring the kittens back to my home after they've had their spooter surgery, which is totally a word. And then adopters come to my home to pick them up. So that is just something separate that the shelters have come up with to help make the process a little less painful for me and for their families. So I hope that helps. Anyone else?
And you can feel free to just come up and form a line if you have any questions.
I'm fostering a kitten that belonged to one of my neighbors, and she's not quite a year old. The vet isn't really too sure. They were not taking very good care of her. She was being allowed to be out at night, and they were basically not feeding her, using her as a mouser, etc. She's already had 1 litter of kittens, and they were going to take her to the shelter because she wasn't getting along with their other cat, who has now disappeared because of the same situation, being taken by a coyote. She's really basically very sweet, but she's crazy. I mean, she's
a cat.
Yeah,
right.
I don't think they ever told her the word no, or she's just a kitten. And I don't think she really knew how to play, but she's learning. But I have a 16-year-old cat who is still grieving the loss of my other cat who died about 3 months ago. And he's a pretty tolerant, easygoing guy, but she is really aggressive with him, and she's jumped on him 3 times, and to the point.
Just 3 times?
Yeah. Well, I keep them
3 times
separated.
yesterday.
I keep them separated.
Okay.
But it's just, and before she was spayed, they were able to be in the same room, like on different pieces of furniture, and then I don't know, she seems to be more aggressive since she was spayed.
Yeah, she's got those teenage hormones raging. So she will eventually settle down. This is a temporary problem. I would recommend getting another 1-year-old kitten if you can. I mean, they're crazy, and it's better if they're crazy with each other than with your other cat. So
I'm going on a vacation.
Okay.
And I'm really scared that my house is.
Right. Yeah. Thank you everyone so much for coming. We'll have volunteers outside the doors if you would like to sign up, no obligation. And thank you so much for coming, and I hope you get to foster sometime. It's really wonderful. Thank you.